K2's Microcast, exclusively at KATU.com.
On World News Tonight this Sunday, investigators say the student pilot who crashed into a Tampa high-rise left a note expressing sympathy for Osama bin Laden. American troops head to Cuba to build a prison for Al-Qaeda and Taliban prisoners. FBI informants implicated in murder cases. Why the White House is blocking a congressional probe. Australia's koalas in a battle for their lives. And risking beatings, jail, death, all for art.
From ABC News, World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight, Sunday.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carol Simpson. Investigators in Florida say they do not believe the teenager who flew a small plane into a Tampa high-rise yesterday had any ties to terrorists. But a note he left behind expresses sympathy for Osama bin Laden. ABC's Ned Potter has this report.
Authorities in Tampa, cleaning up the last of the wreckage, said Charles Bishop had written a 4-paragraph note expressing support for the attacks on September 11th.
Bishop clearly stated that he has acted alone without any help from anyone else. He did, however, make statement expressing his sympathy towards Osama bin Laden.
Bishop was 15 years old. Police said he appeared to be a troubled young man who flew deliberately into the 28th floor of the building. He had taken off from this Florida flight school without permission. He had been taking lessons there for nearly a year.
This individual was very savvy, evidently, at flight and ramp procedures.
And there was little security. Since September 11th, the government has ordered studies on protecting private planes, but it's been much more concerned with commercial jets.
Clearly, a big jet airliner like the 767 has a lot more destructive potential than a small airplane like the Cessna 172 that we saw involved in the accident yesterday.
Some authorities are concerned, however, because the little plane breached the airspace of MacDill Air Force Base, which commands the U.S. effort in Afghanistan, but there were no jets there to intercept it. Instead, 2 fighter planes were scrambled 200 miles from Homestead Air Force Base in South Florida. They were unable to reach Tampa before the plane hit the office tower.
I was looking on the other side to see if it was going to pass by the building, and I looked back and I saw it hit it. I heard pop. No explosions, no nothing.
Bishop was airborne for 9 minutes. Not enough time, said the NTSB, for anyone to stop him. In the end, he left wreckage that looked eerily like September 11th. Ned Potter, ABC News, New York.
U.S. troops from bases around the country and from all branches of the military were deployed to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba today. Their mission, manning the maximum security prison where prisoners from the war in Afghanistan will be held. ABC's Jim Sciutto reports from the Pentagon.
Today, more than 100 U.S. Army troops left Fort Hood, Texas, the first of 1,500 U.S. soldiers being deployed to the new detention center at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
We look at it as a job. We train for it as military police as part of our training.
The troops will prepare and provide security for the center, which will hold as many as 2,000 detainees. The first prisoners will begin arriving within days.
I believe there's a certain risk associated with this mission, and as such, we are using only our very best trained and ready military police.
Pentagon officials say the maximum security detention center will be designed to avoid any repeat of a November uprising by Taliban and Al-Qaeda prisoners at an Afghan prison near Mazar-e-Sharif. In Afghanistan, the U.S. now has 339 detainees in its custody. Today, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee said U.S. officials increasingly believe that Osama bin Laden and other senior leaders have left Afghanistan.
There is a greater sense that they have, in fact, escaped and are probably in one of those tribal territories just over the border into Pakistan.
But military officials continue to say they do not know where bin Laden is.
Pentagon officials say the detention center will mostly house Taliban and Al-Qaeda detainees, although it could also be used to house detainees captured elsewhere in the war on terrorism. Still no decision on where to hold military tribunals. Carol.
Thank you very much. ABC's Jim Sciutto at the Pentagon. The Indian military said it shot down a small unmanned Pakistani spy plane today, a claim Pakistan disputes. Tensions between the nuclear-armed rivals remain high, with troops from both sides massed along their border. India blames Pakistan's spy agency for sponsoring an attack last month on its parliament, which killed 14 people. Turning now to the Middle East, Israel accused Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat of plotting a new wave of terrorism today. The cargo aboard a ship seized in the Red Sea prompted the accusation. ABC's Hillary Brown reports from Eilat.
In a show-and-tell news conference at a naval base in Eilat, Israeli authorities laid out 80 tons of arms and ammunition that they said they found aboard a freighter in the Red Sea last week. The ship was loaded with Katyusha rockets, anti-tank missiles, mortars, and rifles. Israelis said the captain and 2 senior officers were members of the Palestinian Naval Police, acting on the orders of Yasser Arafat's Palestinian Authority.
There is no doubt about it. All the information that we have, there is clear-cut connection between the Palestinian Authority and the ship.
The Prime Minister, Ariel Sharon, called Arafat a bitter enemy. When he gave this order, Sharon said, he made a strategic choice, one that would lead to war. Israel's claims are hotly denied by the Palestinian Authority.
We are sure that the authority has nothing to do with such allegations.
The Israelis say the ship loaded its weapons in an Iranian port in the Gulf and was bound for the Suez Canal and the Gaza Strip when it was seized by Navy commandos off the coast of Sudan.
Israel says that this lethal cargo was to be transferred to smaller boats off the Gaza Strip and then floated in watertight containers to be picked up by the Palestinian Naval Police.
State Department officials say they have no evidence of Israel's claim and are withholding judgment on the case. News of the captured ship coincided with the latest visit here by the U.S. envoy Anthony Zinni, who is trying to broker a ceasefire. He leaves tonight. This could not have helped his peace efforts. Hillary Brown, ABC News, Eilat.
And now we go to Australia, where firefighters are bracing for week 3 in their battle against bushfires that have caused massive damage. Hotter temperatures and high winds are expected tomorrow, conditions that are likely to complicate an already difficult job. ABC's Judy Muller reports from Sydney, Australia.
Firefighters battling some of the worst bushfires in Australia's history got a much-needed break today in the form of rain. But they're still a long way from containing all the blazes that have destroyed more than 100 homes. The fires are hard on wildlife as well, from possums to wallabies. Of special concern are the koalas. These national icons live in forests of highly combustible eucalyptus trees.
Well, unfortunately, koalas don't have many options because they're fairly slow-moving animals, and if they're caught up high in the canopies, there are no options, really. They'll probably just get burned.
Slow-moving is an understatement. The koala's diet is made up exclusively of eucalyptus leaves, which act like a sedative. A koala may take time to scratch or move up and down a tree now and then, but it has very little energy. In fact, koalas sleep 22 hours a day, even at a very busy zoo.
Koalas used to be hunted for their fur until they became a protected species in the 1930s. Even so, their numbers have been dwindling because of increased development and the destruction of the forests.
Add fires to that mix and the koala population is really stressed. The last time Australia suffered from severe bushfires in 1994, thousands of koalas died. Some of the injured were taken to koala shelters.
And he gets a clean towel every day, just like the motels.
But those left in the wild face starvation.
If a whole large area of forest is burnt, well, then they're going to have a little bit of trouble finding suitable trees and suitable food for a little while.
Even if koalas manage to get down from the burning trees, they have a tough time escaping on the ground.
Of course, that poses significant risk to them as well, being exposed to predators and if they have to cross roads and things like that, perhaps being hit by cars.
Fewer than 100,000 koalas now exist in the wild. For this vulnerable creature, these devastating fires could take a terrible toll. Judy Muller, ABC News, Sydney.
Tonight, snowstorms continue their grip on southeastern Europe. It's the worst winter in decades for Greece, Turkey, and Bulgaria. 7 people have died in the unusually cold weather. And in Italy, the famous Venice Lagoon has frozen over for the first time in 17 years. Still ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, protecting FBI informants. Is the government going too far? An artist's tale, liberating buried treasure in Afghanistan. And the sky is no limit. Renovation plans for a heavenly landmark.
This is World News Tonight, Sunday. Brought to you by Gateway.
Moo. Looking for an incredible deal on a computer? Just call 1-800-GATEWAY, because right now you can get a Gateway 300S desktop complete with an Intel Celeron processor, 17-inch monitor, a 20-gigabyte hard drive, and a CD burner, all for just $7.99. That's a fully loaded desktop for only $7.99. To take advantage of this special offer, call 1-800-GATEWAY. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Your doctor says take fiber every day. But how do you know which one? Metamucil gives you a gloppy glass. But Citruscell is different. It's 100% soluble. And people prefer its taste 2-to-1 over Metamucil. And unlike Metamucil, Citruscell won't give you excess gas. Citruscell. Don't just have a regular day. Have a great day. Available in caplets and powder.
So, we're all here because of this new Windex multi-surface with vinegar? Yeah, this multi-surface. Looks like trouble.
Introducing new Windex multi-surface with vinegar. You can use it most everywhere to clean lots of surfaces. In your bathroom, your kitchen, all over your home.
Multi-surface? Hey, Wilson, fly down and see if it works on glass, too. Ooh, works on glass. Yup, works on glass.
New Windex multi-surface with vinegar. Multi-surface means multi-shine. S.C. Johnson & Family Company.
Wish your dentures were this comfortable? Bob's Denture Adhesive is C-Bond, a thin, soft wafer that clings wall-to-wall with 3 adhesives. No gaps, no ooze. C-Bond. Buy it for whole. Love it for comfort.
If your pencils look like mine did, there's something you can do. Ask your doctor if the Nicotrol inhaler is right for you. Or for more information, call 1-800-INHALER. Call today.
The feud between Bridgestone and Ford may be ending. The tire giant and the automaker have reportedly reached a deal to normalize business relations. The companies had ended a 95-year relationship last spring over which company is to blame for accidents involving Ford Explorers with Bridgestone Firestone tires. As President Bush gets ready to take his economic plan on the road, shifting gears from the war to the U.S. economy, there are considerable political risks for a popular president. ABC's Tamala Edwards reports.
Today, White House economic advisor Larry Lindsey defended President Bush's tax cut and argued that further reductions were the right medicine for an ailing economy.
Tax cuts are beneficial for the economy. Every private sector analyst said this is the best time tax cut as far as getting us out of a recession.
Lindsey was responding to a charge by Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle that the president's tax cut, not terrorism, had drained the budget surplus and pushed the nation into recession. Yesterday, President Bush vowed not to let Democrats rescind his tax cut.
Not over my dead body will they raise your taxes.
With congressional elections less than a year away and the early successes of the war behind him, the president finds himself turning to the top domestic priority, the economy. Mr. Bush doesn't want to repeat his father's mistake after the Gulf War of seeming insensitive to a recession.
Well, we went back and we looked at presidential approval after Pearl Harbor, after the Cuban Missile Crisis, and after the Gulf War. And what we found was that approval begins to drop about month 4 after those events.
Much of the president's high approval rating comes from women and minorities, people who perhaps didn't vote for him but had their heads turned by how he's handling the war. Mr. Bush's struggle is not to lose too many of them as he fights for his domestic agenda.
To hang on to them
As we get further away from the 11th, he's got to talk about bread and butter economic issues.
But to lead his party to midterm election wins and convince the country his plan will revive the economy, Mr. Bush will have to do what neither he nor much of the public wants him to do: enter the partisan fray. Tamala Edwards, ABC News, Washington.
There's another controversy involving the White House tonight. At issue is the president's decision to block a congressional inquiry into the FBI's use of informants. ABC's Josh Gerstein reports.
Joseph Salvati spent decades in prison for murder, even though the FBI knew he was innocent.
The FBI took away 30 years of my life, my family, my wife and my 4 children. That should never, ever have to happen again.
The FBI's Boston office kept quiet about Salvati to protect 2 informants, reputed mobsters Whitey Bulger and Stephen Flemmi. While working for the FBI, they allegedly carried out at least 19 murders. Their FBI handler says his actions were authorized by top Justice Department officials.
The strike force directed the FBI, my superiors, to confer a special status on Mr. Bulger and Mr. Flemmi. We were told they were to be left alone to continue to do what they were doing.
Congress opened an investigation into the FBI's handling of top informants, but last month, President Bush invoked executive privilege, ordering the Justice Department not to turn over documents detailing prosecutors' internal discussions about the informants. The move puts Mr. Bush at odds with members of his own party.
If Congress cannot exercise its oversight responsibilities, then you end up with one branch of government, the executive branch, running everything, and they'll be able to control and cover up anything they want to.
Traditionally, executive privilege has protected a president's right to confidential advice, but one law professor says Mr. Bush is trying to extend the privilege to decisions at all federal agencies.
I think the Bush team is trying to rewrite the rules on executive privilege. They are trying to expand the scope of executive privilege, I think in almost a breathtaking fashion, quite frankly.
Bush administration officials declined to be interviewed, but one former White House counsel says the president is right to resist.
The enforcement of the criminal laws is a very unique area. It's one of the few areas that is committed exclusively to the president, who is charged by the Constitution with seeing that the laws are faithfully executed.
Congressman Burton says he will not seek a court fight with the president, but he will hold hearings to expose the FBI's misconduct and to press Mr. Bush to cooperate with the Congress. Josh Gerstein, ABC News, with the president, Crawford, Texas.
An apology tonight from historian Stephen Ambrose. Ambrose admitted using phrases and sentences from colleague Thomas Childers in his new book, The Wild Blue. Ambrose said he was sorry and that he would correct the mistake in future editions. Childers called the apology, quote, classy. Still ahead, treasures that defied the Taliban. One artist's story.
Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. are the original Rat Pack.
You make me feel so young.
Introducing the first official Rat Pack collection. Available now through this special television offer. 42 songs on 2 swinging CDs from the original hipsters for just $19.98.
Oh, Lottie.
EO11, the best of the Rat Pack, is the first official Rat Pack studio collection featuring 18 classic recordings that define the Rat Pack.
Just the start of the blue.
Including the hard-to-find Dean Martin track, When You're Smiling.
You're smiling. When you're smiling.
Now, Dean, listen, I want to talk to you about your drinking.
What happened? I miss around?
No, you didn't.
And now through this special TV offer, you can get a front row seat in the legendary Copa Room at the Sands in Vegas, circa 1963, with the Rat Pack live at the Sands.
Are the stars out tonight? I don't know if it's cloudy.
The complete live performance from the most famous nightclub act in the world, featuring 24 tracks of live, rare, and previously unreleased material.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sammy Davis Jr. And not a moment too soon,
EO11, the best of the Rat Pack, and the Rat Pack live at the Sands.
Ain't that a kick in the head?
Both CDs are just $19.98 plus $4.95 shipping and handling through this special TV offer.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Frank, Dean, and Sammy, the Rat Pack. 3 legendary performers, 2 unprecedented albums, 1 great price. The ultimate holiday gift.
You're nobody till some.
To order EO11, the best of the Rat Pack, and the Rat Pack Live at the Sands, call the number on your screen or send $19.98 for 2 CDs or 2 cassettes, plus $4.95 shipping and handling to the address shown. Order now. Rush delivery available.
Thinking about Viagra? It's now available in a free 6-pill sample pack.
6? That's my number.
So get in the driver's seat and ask about the free Viagra sample pack.
Get to your doctor for a checkup and find out if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
For more information, race over to Viagra.com.
One of the things that will be remembered most about the Taliban regime in Afghanistan is its dedication to wiping out cultural images and artifacts deemed offensive by the radical Islamic movement. The story tonight we have is of a man who risked his life to save some of those images. ABC's Bob Woodruff reports.
At Afghanistan's National Gallery in Kabul, Mohammad Yusuf Asefi is finally able to talk about his secret. Shortly after they came to power, the Taliban banned pictures like this because they depict the human form, a violation of the Taliban's strict Islamic code. Gradually, the religious police began to destroy the paintings. Faces were scratched out, canvases torn apart. Then Mohammad Asefi, a physician and one of Afghanistan's top painters, came up with a secret plan. I came here and took all the paintings that had pictures of the human form, Asefi says. I hid them, put old and destroyed pictures over them, and then I started to work. In this small room, Asefi began to paint, covering the human figures with watercolors so that someday he would be able to do this. By wiping away paint applied by Asefi, the original oil paintings have now been restored. He even saved the more delicate paintings, ones done in watercolor, by painting directly on the glass. The Taliban never figured it out. Of course, it was a very big risk for me, he says. If the Taliban knew that I was hiding and covering pictures of humans, they would have punished me. The Taliban destroyed thousands of pieces of artwork. At Kabul's National Museum, nearly all of its priceless sculptures, ceramics, and antiquities were smashed. And last year, the ancient Buddhas of Bamyan were blown up. Mohammad Asefi says the Taliban destroyed at least 26 of his own paintings before they were defeated last year. But through his skill and deception, 80 others were saved. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, London.
And when we come back, a cosmic renovation in the City of the Stars.
If you've had a heart attack or a stroke, the last thing you need is another one sneaking up on you. After all, you've got better things to do. I know. In my case, I had a heart attack. Then I heard about Plavix, and so I asked my doctor. He told me Plavix is a prescription pill that can help protect you from a heart attack or stroke if you've recently had one, or if you have poor circulation in the legs causing pain.
Plavix is proven to help keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots, which helps keep your blood flowing. This can help protect you from another heart attack or stroke. If you have a medical condition that is causing bleeding, such as a stomach ulcer, you should not use Plavix. Side effects include itching, rash, diarrhea, and bruising. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur. Ask your doctor.
Taking Plavix once a day helps protect me.
Find out if Plavix can help protect you from another heart attack or stroke.
It's a different kind of Fixodent with no artificial flavors or colors. It's Fixodent free. Fixodent holds stronger, holds longer than any other free adhesive. Fixodent and forget it with Fixodent free.
I ate Quaker oatmeal for 30 days. It actually works to remove cholesterol from your body, knocks it right out. Help me strike 6 points of cholesterol. Bowled me over. Quaker oatmeal warms you heart and soul.
How are we going to win on Sunday? How are we going to win on Sunday? Multiple shifts, lots of play action.
You want expert answers whenever you need them? Come to Office Depot, where our people listen, understand, and help.
How can I make these look like they're not just from my home office?
Some digital photos.
It'd be nice if everything was like that.
And praying doesn't hurt.
Office Depot. It's what you need to know.
Oh.
Can't sleep, honey? What's the matter? Oh, heartburn. I know just what you need.
Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief. Faster than Pepcid AC, Zantac, or even the leading prescription. Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief. Cool, effervescent, specially formulated to put out the fire of heartburn fast.
Better, dear.
Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief. Nothing puts out the fire faster.
Tonight, 9/8 Central. Sydney brings in the new year with a bang.
You're amazing.
And a shocking discovery.
I knew it was time.
A new alias. Then at 10/9 Central.
You're here because you know something.
A minister with a killer secret.
If you make me testify, I'd lose my church.
A new alias, followed by a new practice. ABC tonight, starting 9/8 Central.
Finally tonight, when your mission is to inspire nothing short of cosmic wonder, well, that can take a toll. Which is why one of Southern California's most popular landmarks will shut its doors tonight, not forever, but long enough to get a facelift. ABC's Brian Rooney reports from Mount Hollywood.
The Griffith Observatory holds a commanding view of Los Angeles and the stars. 2 million people a year come here to be acquainted with this city and the universe.
The job of the observatory is to remind people that there's a sky out there, that the cosmos is a lot bigger than they are, and that it changes your mind when you think about it.
People have flocked here for one last look before closing. This is where she got her first kiss.
It was quite romantic, looking at the sky.
And he saw a future as an astronomer.
I look at stars, nebulas, planets.
Since the observatory was built for the public in 1935, its domes have been an icon in American life and culture. The Apollo astronauts came here to learn astronomy. Sal Mineo came to meet his fate in Rebel Without a Cause.
It has been in hundreds of films, on television regularly, and in commercials. In fact, it's been in so many movies, it ought to have its own star in Hollywood Boulevard.
Unlike any other observatory, Griffith has given the public a view of the stars, a view of things they otherwise would never have seen.
Craters and mountains on the moon, the polar caps of Mars, the rings of Saturn, the moons of Jupiter. More people saw Comet Hale-Bopp through a telescope at Griffith Observatory than anywhere else on Earth. More people have looked at the telescope at this building, looked through that telescope, than any other telescope on the planet.
All that traffic has worn out this grand building. It'll take 3 years to restore every square inch and add an enormous underground exhibit space. But when the Griffith Observatory reopens, the view of this building and of the stars will be unchanged. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And that's our report. If you have any comments, email us at weekend@abcnews.com. I'm Carol Simpson. From all of us here at ABC News, have a good week and good night.
This week, designing your own car of the future with parts that snap on and off. Plus, just when you thought you knew what to eat, once healthy foods that may really be harmful on World News Tonight.
A case that brings together father and son to tear two partners apart.
It's us who got